What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. Now I have a different video for you today. I think it's important to make this video. Don't worry though, my 1/6 scale Geralt figure is done, so I'm going to be uploading that review probably later on today or tomorrow. But I did want to talk about something important that is kind of galvanizing all of YouTube right now. This is Quantum TV, and this, by all accounts, is a crazy person. Of course, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not qualified to make that diagnosis. And I'm pretty sure that they don't really call people crazy in a clinical sense. But I do have a lot of common sense, and based on everything that this individual has done, it's very clear that he's not only unstable, but basically unable to take responsibility for anything that he's done or started. Now, of course, this is my opinion, but I'm not just pulling that out of my ass. I'm going to show you proof as to why this person is just not all there. And definitely the way that he reacts to things are just so ridiculous. This is an issue that could have been dropped immediately, but let's be frank here. This person got pissed off about something and tried to use the copyright strike system in order to silence another YouTuber because he simply didn't like his comments. He got butthurt, he didn't like it, and he wanted to silence that individual. A much smaller channel, and I have to be honest, my channel is completely minute compared to these two individuals. And this is indicative of a much greater problem with YouTube, and I think that's a video for another day. Now, Quantum TV will have you believe that all of this drama is about Elden Ring, a game that is controversial to say the least, but not controversial in the way that he's thinking. It's a difficult game. It's a From Software game. It has been 7 years that they've been making these types of games, I should say. Everybody knows that they're difficult unless you've been hiding under a rock. And what strains credulity for me is that Quantum TV acts like he has never heard of this, and yet he's making video game reviews. If you make video game reviews, you should do your research and you should understand what an Elden Ring game or what a From Software game is like. And this is the points that another YouTuber was trying to make. So Mischief, who is a much smaller channel, responded to his idiotic, in my opinion, review of Elden Ring, which was just completely stupid and missed some of the points and the purpose of the game. Quantum TV argues that it should have a much lower difficulty setting, and if you know anything about From Software and these types of games, these Souls types games, the whole point is the difficulty and the brutality and how hard they are. And full disclosure, I have played From Software games. I've never completed them because I got my ass handed to me. But the idea to say that a game shouldn't exist unless it's inclusive for everyone else, meaning that they should dumb down the difficulty because you can't pass it, is absolutely ridiculous. That's like saying that the Mona Lisa or the David statue shouldn't exist because not everybody can appreciate it, or not everybody likes nudity, and it's not for everybody, and that's absolutely absurd from an artistic standpoint, so to speak. So what Mischief did, like anybody would, like I'm doing now, is that they refuted some of those ridiculous points. And it was masterfully done. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that's pretty incredible. This is only a 16-year-old kid living in the UK, and he made what was arguably a shitty video from Quantum TV into an absolute masterpiece, weaving all of the points that he had, or the misinformation that he also had, and just completely destroying his argument if there was one to be had. Now, one of the things you have to understand is that Quantum TV didn't even play the game that long. So how in the hell could you give a full review for a game that you got frustrated with and quit almost immediately? That's one of the points that Mischief made. And again, here's what happened. He obviously got pissed off. He got so hurt or butthurt by this video that he decides to take it to an extreme and just drops a mushroom cloud. So he reaches out to Mischief and basically threatens him. I mean, he was essentially trying to censor him. He didn't like what he was saying. He got butthurt, so he starts to abuse the copyright strike system on YouTube. And I have to say, and this is just, from knowing how copyright works, his 4 points of copyright, whatever the hell he was trying to bullshit his way, because this is a grifter, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. His bullshit 4 points of copyright use, or whatever the hell he was talking about, is absolutely absurd. This man clearly doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I can't even believe that people listen to him in his TV reviews, and that's another thing that we'll get into. But he just completely blew away his bullshit copyright claim. He was basically threatening a YouTuber because he didn't like his review. Now, Quantum TV is a VA reviewer or audiovisual reviewer, VA, AV, I'm not exactly sure, but he reviews TVs. And even within that community of the audiovisual community, he proclaims himself to be this master programmer on how to get proper settings for every TV. But within that community, he's kind of a joke. He's kind of a laughingstock. Now, I'm no expert in audiovisual anything, and I'm certainly not an expert in programming TVs. But based on what I've read in some of the comment sections, well, the ones that are still up, because he deletes negative comments. This guy is a joke and a grifter and a bullshit artist. And, it's just this whole experience and what he's done kind of just exposed that fact. And just the way that he responded to this was so ridiculous. Like, for example, a couple years ago, one of my reviews ended up on a website that sells action figures, 1/6 scale figures, etc. Okay, and one of my subscribers said, "Hey, AGR, that your full review is posted up, and they're using your videos to sell their products." Now, did I blow up? Did I drop a mushroom cloud on these people? Did I start threatening people with copyright strikes or threatening legal action or any kind of litigation? No, of course not, because that's absurd. Because I understand the power of free advertising. So yes, they were using my review to sell their product, but at the same time, they were drawing views to my channel. And even if it wasn't directly benefiting me, why am I going to go out of my way to do this crazy stuff, to act like a petulant child? I mean, that's just absurd. Look, when you post things on YouTube, and what this guy doesn't seem to understand is that it is a public platform, it's a public forum, you don't own the rights to it. Yes, you have some protection against copyrighted material, but again, once you post things up to YouTube, that's it. People can use it. People can use it to do reviews, to counteract points, to make certain commentary over your video, and that is fair use. And this is what this individual doesn't seem to understand. He keeps saying that Mischief used some third-party illegal app to download his content. I mean, that's so fucking idiotic. I don't even understand where the hell this guy got the idea from. But nevertheless, here is the argument, and it is absolutely absurd. Now, in digging deeper into this Quantum TV guru, whatever the hell he believes himself to be, it turns out that this individual is just a shit person. Not only is he a bigoted individual, apparently he hates the LGBT community. I mean, he's just a nasty person, and this is indicative of what's wrong. This guy propagates hate speech. He's injecting his own personal bigoted views in everything. And just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, within his own audiovisual community or TV program or whatever the hell he is that he does. So there is a YouTuber who does something very similar to what he does called FOMO. I don't know who this person is. I've never actually seen these channels. But apparently he was demonstrating the differences between OLED or conventional TVs, or the way that they're backlit. I'm not exactly sure of the terminology, but it was a demonstration in the differences between certain settings and certain TVs. Now, because of the fact that the show Lucifer came out in the TV, the title came out for about, I don't know, a couple seconds, he proclaimed him to be a freaking Satan worshiper. I mean, and he was trying people to get on board with this ridiculous idea that this person named FOMO, or this YouTuber named FOMO, worships Satan, for God's sakes. And that, how absurd that is. I mean, I guess it goes into his whole religious Christian belief, or I'm not exactly sure, but apparently he was trying to get people to understand to stop watching FOMO because he was some kind of Satan worshiper or something. And that is absolutely insane. But of course it gets much worse, much worse than that. He'll have you believe that back in 2018 or something like that, his accounts were hacked and all this bigoted shit was not propagated by him. Now, I call absolute bullshit on that, because I've had my accounts hacked as well, and I've always done the responsible thing that a responsible person does, is goes and see what has been posted in your name, and if it's something horrible, you take it down. He never took this stuff down. And this was all in response to a photo that apparently he saw that he had a lot of problems with, of two gay couples basically reenacting the scene from The Last of Us 2 inside of a church where Ellie and her partner are kissing in the church. He really didn't like that. He thought it was disgusting. And when somebody called him out on it and said, hey, listen, man, like, I have my issues with LGBT, but I don't wish death on people, he kind of struck back and said some nasty shit, which is written here. He basically wished that couple were victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. And again, when somebody called him out on it, he just responded in this disgusting way. Basically said, and I quote, "They deserve it. This world is better off without them forcing their lifestyle on it." That's fucking insane. Now, let us assume for a moment that I give him the benefit of the doubt, and it wasn't him that wrote these disgusting things, which I completely don't believe at all. The pattern of behavior of the bigoted and nasty shit that he said is completely there. And most recently, one such instance with I saw and heard with my own eyes in his idiotic review of the Batman. I mean, not only were his points idiotic, but he clearly had a problem with the racial elements of the movie. He didn't like that they were racially switching people around. And he called Zoe Kravitz a half-breed. He called her a freaking half-breed, for God's sakes. It's important to note also that all these damning videos and posts have since been deleted, especially his Elden Ring review. That's gone because he doesn't want to, quote, deal with it. But the reality is he doesn't want to be exposed for the bigoted, idiotic, racist person that he really is. And if this incident is not testament to what this person's disposition is really all about, there's a statement that was released on March 24th, 2022. I don't see how he can claim that this was hacked as well, but he's basically thanking his viewers or followers or whatever the hell of claiming victory over Satanism, this anti-gay, anti-Christian sentiment of liberal agenda or something on the leftists, and it's absolutely crazy. He talks about heterophobia. I don't know. This is just insane. If you want to see what this guy is really all about, read this entire statement. It's absolutely absurd. These are the ravings of a lunatic. I don't even know what the hell he's going on about and how this relates to some of the bullshit that he's been saying online. To sum it up, guys, this guy is not only a grifter, he's a bullshit artist, and he's trying to hide behind the copyright strike function of YouTube to basically silence somebody that criticized him for his idiotic review. And that's what this is all about. He will still want you to believe that this is about this Elden Ring, and it clearly isn't. That might have been the jumping point to expose much bigger problems with this individual. And the fact that he's still claiming that this is the Elden Ring community being toxic is absolutely crazy, given the fact that he has spread so much toxic shit about the LGBT community and even going so far as to wish death on these people. I mean, what is more toxic than that? Now, he's going around arguing these points about copyright, which he clearly doesn't understand. He's going around threatening to sue other individuals, which really amounts to nothing but censoring people that criticize them. This is a man that has such a fragile ego that he can't take the fact that people criticize him, that people call him out on his bullshit. And so what does he do? He hides behind the copyright strike law, doing it illegally, by the way, because if you don't have a legitimate claim to it, it is in fact illegal. And that's what's going on here. And that's what started this whole bullshit. This guy got so butthurt and his ego was so bruised that somebody called him out on his arguably idiotic take on Elden Ring that he got pissed off. And that's all this is, guys. It's just an individual who has such a fragile ego that he can't take criticism. And that's the problem with this individual. And in order to distract you from what's actually going on here, he wants to claim cancel culture, he wants to claim bullying, he wants to claim a whole bunch of stuff that is actually not happening. It's just people calling you out on your bullshit, man. And if you want to go ahead and attack my channel because of it, it's fine. Go ahead. I can take it. I have a small channel, but I'm still going to give my opinion on what you're doing because everybody sees it except you. You are the Candace Owens of YouTube right now. You're an absolute joke, and it's really sad that you can't see what's going on and you can't self-reflect enough to understand that you're wrong. I can't believe that a 16-year-old kid understands more about fair use and more about what's actually going on in this situation than an adult. Okay? And it doesn't matter how many times you lift up your finger to show that you're married. Clearly, you're not mature enough to understand what this situation is. And that's all I'm going to say about it, guys, because this guy does not deserve any more videos. He's a piece of shit. He's a bigoted individual. I know that I didn't want to be so harsh, but I have to be, because this is absolute nonsense. And the fact that he's abusing the copyright strike, that affects everyone. YouTube has so many problems right now, and smaller channels like myself have a tough time already with the YouTube algorithm. that it makes it even worse when pieces of shit like this abuse the copyright strike system. All because they can't take criticism and because they don't like the fact that people call them out on their bullshit. Alright guys, I don't want to spend any more time on this guy. I'll have my review up of the Geralt 1/6 scale figure very soon. Until then, I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.